there. My name is Shauna McGrath. I'm an astrologer and a counselor, and this is your weekly astrology forecast for the week of February 24th through March 1st, 2020. This week is about clarifying your power. So we have some aspects involving some planets that symbolize this feeling of wanting to have power and control and autonomy over your life and maybe to control your environment a little bit. So we're going to work with that energy a little bit today and explore what that may look like for you. So before we get started, I want you to just notice how you're feeling right now. And maybe you can leave me a little comment if you like what's going on with you? How are you feeling? How is your energy level? Because we always want to start there. What is your set point, so to speak? We'll just go right in with that being said. The first aspect that I'll share with you that we have this week is Venus square Pluto. So this combination is about power dynamics in relationships. It's about control, boundaries, and the way that we share resources with each other, not just physical or monetary resources, but emotional resources, how we share our time, how we share our psychic resources, how we meld and blend with people. This could also be a symbol of how it is that you connect with powerful people. So I'm saying all of this because Venus is about relationships, of course. It's also about love, beauty, sex, aesthetics, the arts. And when Venus comes into contact with Pluto in any way, there is an intensification and there is a focus on power. Now, this can go towards obsession, so I want you to watch out for that where there is, so this is also a classic indicator that I see in people who have behaviors around codependency, because there is this desire to control the environment, or that is present in the individual's life where that individual feels like people are trying to control them. So I want you to watch for those kinds of power dynamics. They may be subtle, and those are the most tricky to work with, because when something is not overt and you can't quite put your finger on it, which often with Pluto things you can't, it can be tricky to figure out exactly what is happening. So I'll have more in the tips for you on that, but for now just know that that is a big theme this week, especially because it's a square aspect, which indicates tension and where we're grappling with an issue and kind of weighing how it is that we want to handle something. The other thing that's happening this week is involving Mercury and the Sun. So Mercury is still retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Retrograde means simply that we are in a state where there's a lot of reflection going on, where there's a lot of analyzing the past or even the present and how it is that you want to move forward without necessarily moving forward at this point in time. So Mercury and the Sun will come together at the same point in the zodiac this week, so they'll conjunct. So this is a fantastic time during the Mercury retrograde period. It's known as when Mercury is in the heart of the Sun. So Mercury is with the Sun, and it's a very auspicious time. So this is happening. It's exact at on Tuesday at 5:44 p.m. Pacific time. So I would make note of that, and if you want to meditate or do any kind of ritual work, or just work on a project even, or think about things, meditate and do some writing, that's a fantastic time for doing something very auspicious at that moment in time. But this whole week, this is where we can gain more clarity within the issues that have come up around Mercury retrograde, around what it is in your life that you've been reanalyzing and rethinking and going back on. The other piece of this that I really like for you is that Mercury will also make aspects to Uranus and Mars. And these are very dynamic connections because Uranus is about freedom, breaking free. It's about innovation and revolutionizing a system, totally changing a system. And then Mars is about action It's about getting really excited about something. And so Mercury is making a sextile aspect to these planets. So what this says to me, it's a little bit different than the Venus-Pluto, where it's a square and where things are presented to you that you kind of can't avoid. This is more like there's an opportunity here for you. There's an opportunity for you here around active communication, around getting clarity, around I think especially with Uranus, Mars, there's something here around pushing the envelope, or maybe pushing yourself outside of your normal thinking pattern, or pushing yourself outside of your normal comfort zone. So I would just watch, you know, like, I think also when I'm saying this, like, what is popping into your mind? What are you thinking of? Is there a situation that comes to mind? So I would pay attention to that. And just notice what that would feel like explore that. Definitely a really cool time for some clarity, especially with this Mercury retrograde being in the sign of Pisces and being more about like spiral consciousness, if that makes sense. Mercury retrograde in Pisces, it's more about like exploring different states of being and daydreaming versus creating an analytical plan. So I feel like we're going to get kind of a shot of clarity in what may feel kind of like a more ethereal, foggy kind of mental state over the last week or so. All right. So the last thing I'll share with you is, before I go to the tips, is the lunar cycle, what's happening with that. So we just had our new moon on Sunday. Yeah, new moon was on Sunday. Yeah, new moon. I'm filming this before the new moon, so I'm like, wait, it didn't happen. Yeah, so new moon was on Sunday, the 23rd, and it was exact at 7:31 a.m. Pacific time at 4 degrees of Pisces, if you're interested in that. So this means that we are in the waxing phase of the moon. This is the time when the moon is going to appear larger and larger in the sky all this week. So this is a fantastic time for growth, for building, for moving forward on things. Of course, Mercury is retrograde, so we need to be mindful of that. But this is a time of elaborating and researching and reaching out and taking steps towards something that's important to you. What I really like about this too is, so we go from, as far as the signs that the moon is moving through, we go from Pisces to Aries to Taurus. So I think that because this moon is, I mean, it's just like this very ethereal kind of moon, right? Pisces, we already have Mercury there. So I think that Sunday is going to feel sort of otherworldly, or maybe you're going to want a lot of downtime, which I think you totally should take. And then when we start the week on Monday, and then Monday, Tuesday, and then following through, I think that there's going to be more energy that builds inside of you, where you get like, okay, yeah, like I know what I need to do. I see it as kind of this like waking up from a dream, so to speak. All right. And so, all right. I have 3 tips for you to really make the most out of this, to keep in mind during your week. Tip number 1 is don't try to control others. This is the number 1 tip for this week, because Venus-Pluto. Hashtag Venus-Pluto. So there's going to be this thing with, like, whenever Pluto and Venus come together, control and power are themes. They are major themes in relationships. And so again, this can go both ways. Someone that has Venus-Pluto in their birth chart, they are constantly over their lifetime working with these themes around power and control. And that doesn't mean, it can flip either way. So that may mean that people are always trying to control them and they want that at some kind of unconscious level, or it means that they're trying to control their environment. So the biggest thing with this is I want you to remember that you are in control of how it is that you respond. So you may have all kinds of crazy feelings about a situation, and you are in charge of how it is that you choose to cope with that. So I know, like, those of you that have been following me know that I'm really into unconscious motives and behaviors, and so of course there's only so much that we can consciously control, but through paying attention you actually have a lot of power over your own environment. So that's tip number 1, is to untangle yourself from trying to control others. Tip number 2 that's going to help with this is to get perspective. So this means pulling back from a situation, maybe writing about it, and taking a moment from something that feels emotionally charged. Tip number 3 is to explore your thoughts this week, especially that Tuesday when Mercury is in the heart with the sun, Tuesday at 5:54 p.m. Pacific time. Super fantastic time to just explore what it is that's on your mind and what you're thinking about, because you may be surprised. All right, so I'm going to pull a card for you. And as I'm doing this, I want you to take a moment and just notice how it is that you feel now, how all of this has landed for you. Maybe you want to write down a few insights or leave me a comment, and let me know how you'll integrate these things this week. Oh, interesting. So I pulled the 9 of Cups. So this is like a really powerful card. So 9 of Cups is about wish fulfillment. It's about getting all of the things that you want. So I think this is really interesting that this comes up this week, because there's something here around you. I'm getting like you claiming what it is that you want. So maybe you have everything that you want and it's about noticing that, or maybe it's about saying what it is that you want. Cups is also about emotion as well. It's about like emotional security. So there's something here around wants and desires and feeling fulfilled. Do you feel fulfilled right now? Or what is it that that you want or that you crave in order to feel fulfilled and satisfied? Curious how that lands with you, or what other associations that you have with that card. So if you want to go a little bit deeper into this and you want to explore what's happening in your own life or to work out some of these issues, I am available for readings or for astrological counseling. You can find out more about that on my website, shaunamcgrathastrology.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'll have the links to that below. I am wishing you a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.